Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today Charles Barkley announces that he is going to be retiring from broadcasting after the 2024-25 season. He announced this Friday night on the NBA TV's coverage of the NBA Finals, post game after Game 4. And this is all coming in the midst of the company that he currently works for, Turner. It looks like right now Warner Brothers is going to lose the NBA rights. And basically, kind of like we've been kind of known this for a while. And every time any one of these four guys goes into a radio interview, a TV interview, one of the biggest questions is what's going to happen to the NBA TV rights, and then what's going to happen to you if Turner loses them. And this has been a very big discussion over the past month or so. But kind of the point of this video here today is I'm going to basically tell you guys that I do not think that Charles Barkley is going to retire from broadcasting. And I do think there is a reason of why he went on TV and said this. But before I get into those reasonings, I will go ahead and show you guys this 90-second clip from the NBA TV's post-game coverage of Charles Barkley announcing his retirement from broadcasting. So we'll go ahead, we'll play this clip, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, I've been thinking, guys, I want to say this because you guys are my family. I really love TNT, all the people who work here, NBA television. You guys been great to me for 24 years. And I just want to say thank you to my entire NBA family. I love you guys. You know, there's been a lot of noise around our network the last few months. And I just want to say, I've talked to all the other networks, but I ain't going nowhere other than TNT. But I have made the decision myself, no matter what happens, next year is going to be my last year on television. And I just want to say thank you to my NBA family. You guys been great to me. My heart is full with joy and gratitude. But I'm going to pass the baton at the end of next year. I hope the NBA stays with TNT. But for me personally, I wanted you guys to hear from me because I'm not doing any more interviews. Don't y'all be calling me. Nobody calling me. I'm not talking about this again, but I want to tell my NBA and NBA TV and TNT family that I'm not going to another network, but I'm going to pass the baton to either Jamal Crawford or Vince Carter or you, Steve. But next year, I'm going to just retire after 25 years, and I just want to say thank you, and I wanted y'all to hear from me first.
All right, so there's Charles Barkley announcing his retirement on NBA TV. Okay, so here's why I don't think this is actually going to happen. One, Charles Barkley has been flirting with retirement for like a decade now. There was once upon a time, I believe he said he's like, I am not working past 60. Well, now he's 61. Next year, he's going to be 62. A few years ago, he signed a 10-year, $100 million extension with Turner to stay with them. So that would put him so he's like 2 years into that contract. So he would have basically throughout his entire 60s was what that contract was. A few other reasons here too. He's going to get paid if he moves and he is a free agent, whether it's NBC, ESPN, Amazon, he could potentially double that $10 million a year from Turner that he has. So he's going to get paid a bunch of money. And these jobs, guys, if you like watch NFL on Fox and watch their pregame show, they like keep adding guys to that show, but they don't keep taking guys off because it's a pretty cushy lifestyle. You get paid a lot of money. You only have to work half of the year, and then you work like for a few hours a day. And I guess for basketball, it's a little different because you might have to work 2-3 times a week. But there's some weeks you don't work. There's some weeks you only work one time a week. And you get paid very well to do that. So if you're saying like, hey, you only have to work 6-7 months a year, Charles Barkley, we're going to pay you $15 million a year. And yeah, you're only working like once a week. We only need you on the Amazon broadcast like one time a week. That's all we need you to do. That's a pretty, enticing kind of offer for Charles Barkley. And here's another reason. I'll go ahead and show you guys this Twitter thread here from Brian Curtis, who works for The Ringer. He has the Press Box podcast, which is a favorite of mine. And this is a little bit of a Twitter thread of kind of like why he is skeptical that Charles Barkley is actually going to retire. So I'll go ahead and show you guys this Twitter thread here from Brian Curtis. So in an interview last month, Charles Barkley said, "I'm open for business, brother. bragged about an opt out in his Turner deal, also said it's not that important that he and his inside the NBA team stayed together. So, yeah, that was also another part of this, too, guys, is that Charles Barkley was basically saying for a while, he was like, oh, I might just start my own production company and we'll hire everyone out. And then we'll basically sell the production company to whatever TV partner wants to have us do a pregame, halftime, and postgame show or whatever, or maybe we're just doing a postgame show. So, so he's basically, it's like this kind of came out of nowhere. This retirement announcement came out of nowhere, which is why it has been such big news. Let's continue with this thread here. More thoughts on Barkley. The list of people in sports that have walked away from huge contracts under their own power is very, very short. It's John Madden and ... Yeah, people take the money. Inside the NBA is so good that there's a belief that only the dastardly Zaz could separate Charles Barkley. That Zasloff is the guy that is basically running Turner, TNT, could separate Charles Barkley from his TV pals. That would basically mean, too, with that, too, to add more context, that there is a theory, though, that like Zasloff would just because Charles Barkley's under contract, that he would basically just keep Charles Barkley under contract and wouldn't let him go to any other TV partner, which would be kind of like, from a media perspective, kind of evil. This is not how Barkley sees things. 2 years ago, he toyed with going to Live Golf. The hardest thing to believe about Charles Barkley's supposed retirement is him walking away from a microphone. He loves it. The evidence for this isn't 25 years on Turner. The evidence is that he did Dan Dockich's show last week. I can't believe he did Dan Dockich's show. If he could do Dan Dockich's show, he could do mine. I guess we have a goal coming up here on the Sports Tech Podcast show. But yeah, Brian Curtis is exactly right. I think that this is I think there's just two parts here with Charles Barkley saying this on TV. One, it is definitely kind of what we were saying at the beginning of him flirting with retirement over and over again with TNT. And basically kind of happens to that is like, he's like, I don't know, I might retire. And then Turner comes back to him and is like, hey, we don't want you to retire. What can we get you to stay? And then Charles Barkley ends up getting a fat raise. So I think that's part of it here. But here is actually the reason why I think he said this. Now, I don't think he's like putting on an act here for us, but I think this is the main reason of why he got pushed to this point, was because every interview that Charles Barkley has been doing for the last month and a half has been about, hey, is NBA on TNT going to stay? Is Inside the NBA going to stay? If it doesn't stay, where are you going? If you're going somewhere else, is Shaq coming in with you? Is Kenny coming with you? Is Ernie coming with you? Are all of you guys coming with you? And I think after a while, just getting asked about this every single time in an interview, and not even just interviews, it's probably every time he sees someone that he hasn't seen in a few months or something in his personal life, they are probably asking him about that. And now that he announces his retirement, all those questions disappear. All those questions disappear, because getting all of those questions all the time is probably pretty annoying, especially when you don't have all of the answers. And another part of this too is because, guys, the 2024-2025 season, so we're talking about a year from now, is basically when he's saying he's going to retire. So if he were to make a jump to, let's say, Amazon or NBC, he's got like 15 months to decide on whether he's going to do that. He's got 15 months. He's got a lot of time to decide if he is going to keep broadcasting. And again, too, if like 15 months down the road comes and Amazon's all of a sudden like, hey, man, we'll give you $20 million a year for 5 years. Do you want to come? You want to come help us launch our NBA brand on our streaming service? That's a pretty tough deal to turn down, especially like we said earlier, you're only working half the year. You're only working like 1 or 2 nights a week. And kind of what Brian Curtis said in that Twitter thread that we posted there, he loves the attention. He loves the spotlight. He did a CNN show called King Charles earlier this year. He loves talking on TV. He loves giving it his opinion, and he's very good at it. And we all like seeing him. And when you get paid very well to do it, it's hard to walk away. So that is why I think that Charles Barkley, I think he just kind of said this because he's tired of all the questions. So he's like, if I announce my retirement, and I think it's in the back of his mind thinking this, if I announce my retirement, then all of a sudden these questions I'm not going to have to answer these questions for the next year of where I'm going. So I think 2025 and beyond, maybe throughout the rest of the 2020s, we're going to have Charles Barkley on our TV sets while we are watching the NBA pregame, halftime and post game shows. So I don't think there's anything to worry about here. I just think that I don't think Charles Barkley is going anywhere. It's just a matter of where he is going and whether or not the other people that are on the studio show with him now are going to be going with him. Are they going to be without jobs, or are they going to be going to a rival network? So there you have it, guys. That is going to do it for this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast show here today. If you like the show and you're new to this show, please help me out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave a comment, even if the comment is just saying, hey, you're very handsome. Doing all those things helps us out tremendously in the algorithm. We are trying very hard to make small shows like this grow. So if you could do those things, it helps us out very much. Right now, our goal is to try to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We got about 5.5-ish months to do that. Right now, as I'm recording this, I'm a tad under 400. So if you could help us out with a subscription, that would help us out very much. So thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Love you guys.